the JBR Podcast.
Wake up and check it out.
Where music and life connects. Let's go.
Technical difficulties. So yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time to come and do this podcast. So first thing I ask everybody is, how did you get in the music biz?
Oh gosh, how far back do you want to go, James? Like
As far as you want.
my first inkling of music, my first time in my life I ever loved music. Do you want to go back that far?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was probably 5, and I grew up in Squamish, a little town called Squamish, BC. You're from the West Coast, yes?
Maple Ridge, yeah.
Yeah, Maple Ridge. My girlfriend Leanne's from Maple Ridge. She just flew out here. Anyway, okay, I'm going to be scattered because I'm all over the place, but I remember we grew up in Squamish, and there's a place called Paradise Valley, which was all farmland, and it was paradise. So we didn't have televisions. I'm old. So we didn't have televisions. I don't think they had radio even that, but every Saturday, one of the farmhouses, and they all lived very far from each other, had a gathering. So I remember vividly being on a sleigh ride, sitting on hay bales, pulled by horses, and going to this farmhouse to a party. We had no idea what it was going to be about. And one of the neighbors was cross-country skiing, and he went past the wagon. He's going to the same party. We got to this party, big, huge fireplace, fire going, big old farmhouse. And it was all about music. And I think maybe 5, maybe 6 years old. And I couldn't believe what was happening. So the grandmother of the house was sitting there playing piano, and people came out of the kitchen with mandolins and fiddles and guitars, and then people started dancing. And the grandfather was sitting straddling the piano bench facing the grandmother, who was playing piano and singing. And he had, those two-man saws that you cut wood with.
Yeah.
He had that between his legs, and I'll try and get this on. And he grabbed the top of it. He had the bottom between his knees. He had the top of it, and he was bending it to change notes and playing it with the fiddle bow. And he was bending notes and going low and then higher. And I think I looked like this without the hair. I was like, the whole time. And then people came out like a banjo guy came out of the kitchen playing banjo, and they were all dancing. And that was our entertainment. That was what we did. So when music was purely for entertainment, that's when I thought, I was amazed. I was just blown away. And then the next day, we're at McNeil's farmhouse. And I remember vividly, too, there was an old acoustic guitar in the closet, and the door was open. So I went in there, and I grabbed this guitar, and I was pretending to play, and I was rocking out with this acoustic guitar. And this little girl in this dress, little farm girl, came by, and she started watching me. And then she caught me, and I saw her, and she waved and giggled and ran away. And I thought, yeah, rock and roll. That was my first inkling of that I loved music. And that was amazing. It was just, that's what we did back then.
That's cool.
And I, James, I watched some of your stuff with a name like James Buddy Rogers. I thought, this is going to be some old guy with, some old blues guy and that looked kind of like me maybe. And you're clean shaven, and you're like, it's great. I must say, and I know you're interviewing me, but may I say that your playing's great. And I don't know, like, your voice is amazing. Like you don't have that growly, bluesy voice that even Canadian blues guys kind of put on sometimes. You have this Clapton-esque, if I may say, sort of. Anyway, so I really appreciate your vocals as well as your guitar. Like that's it's
appreciate that.
Sort of high, clean. Is Eric Clapton, was he one of your influences?
Yeah, not so much on the blues side. I really like vocal wise guys like Robert Cray, Donny Hathaway.
Yeah, you have the higher, cleaner sort of voice. Anyway, I really enjoyed that. Like I did the flip the script that Dee did with you, so I got to know you before this interview. Like I did some homework, you know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I know some of your stuff. Not being a country guy, a lot of my guys I hunt with, they're all country, right? So they play your shit all the time
Yeah.
around the campfire, so it's cool.
Yeah, and then after that, let's see. Like we had a basement band, if you will, like I guess most people started, and we played in Paul Chekanowski's basement, and he was the keyboard player and the singer. So we had Todd Mater on bass, Doug McNeil on drums, and we had a gosh, I'm remembering names now after all these years. Lawrence Lawrence Dinwiddie was the guitar player. And there was a paper boy named Rick Hoyrup, and he would listen through the window at us jamming. And Lawrence had a habit of not showing up to practices, so Rick just kept listening through the window. And Lawrence didn't show up, and Rick came over, dropped off some papers, and kind of knocked on the door. And we said, "Well, Lawrence didn't show up," and Rick goes, "I know the songs," because he learned them through the window. And then he became the guitar player. So we had a little band. We had a little basement band. And then there was so we're skipping ahead a bunch of years. Like my first guitar I made myself. I had a plank of wood, and I had a 2x4, and I nailed them together, and I put the nails in the end where the headstock would be. And I used different gauges of fishing line, and I put nails in the back. So I had the thick fishing line on top, and I made my own guitar. And I just would rock out in the basement, just pretending to play. But I wanted a realistic guitar. So I used different gauges of fishing line, and that was my first guitar. I made it. Anyway, so I was always intrigued. And then my mom watched the Tom Jones show. And I loved Tom Jones, women are throwing panties and bras at him and stuff. And so I used the butt end of a screwdriver, and I'd be running around the house going, "It's not unusual to be loved by anyone," kind of stuff like that. So that was my childhood memories and intrigue about music. Then we got this band together. Then there was a battle of the bands and in high school. So we had our band, and we got Brick in the Wall had just come out. So everybody was talking about this song, Brick in the Wall, we don't need no education, leave those kids alone. And we all thought that was just great, And what year was that? What year
that would have 70s?
Yeah. Yeah. I graduated in 1981. So I'm a lot older than you. I was around when the Dead Sea was just sick, buddy. That's how old I.
Fuck, that's good. I'm gonna start using that one for my kids.
But you're not that old though. How old are you?
I just turned 49.
Okay, I'm 60. I'm in my 60s now. Anyway, I started when I was 21. I know I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, but I went on the road when I was 21. I'll get to that story. And I'm 61 now, and I've never had another job in my life, ever.
That's beautiful.
And I live in Banff now, and we'll kind of get to that too. This is like my little Vegas, but we'll get to that anyway. So my basement band, there was a battle of the band. So we did that song, Brick in the Wall, and we got the 3 hottest girls in high school to be our backup singers. And they did that. We practiced, and they did all the moves. We don't need no education. And we just nailed it. And we won the battle of the bands. And then what's the next step? So we're like, okay, we're rock stars now. We need to go on tour. We need to go on tour. We're in high school. So we did a tour of all the elementary schools in Squamish, all 3 of them. And but you know what? Why not? So from kindergarten to grade 6, the auditoriums were full, and we did a concert. And I think I hope I still have a big poster with all the, thanks for the music and pictures and stuff. And so then we did our first tour. So I would have been 14, but we could tour anyway. So now I'll jump ahead. So graduated when I was 17 in 1981. I worked in a glass shop in Squamish. So I put windows in cars and windows in houses and making coffee tables, whatever. So I tried that for a couple years. I'm 17 at the time, 18. I was in North Vancouver and I was working, putting a windshield in the car. And the boss says, "Phone's for you, Brent." And I'm like, "What?" So I go to the phone and I say, "Hello?" And it's my drummer, Doug, from Squamish. And they had gone on a little tour with a singer named Bruce Waffler. So thank him because he quit and I got the gig. Anyway, so I'm making probably $16 an hour at the time, which is great money. Dental, medical, full coverage, everything. And I said, "What do you want?" He goes, "It's Doug." I said, "Doug who?" He goes, "Your drummer, Doug from Squamish." He says, we're going on the road. We want you to sing for the band. Why don't you come with us? It's kind of Blues Brothers. We're putting a band back together, you know? And my first question was, "How much are we going to make?" And he said, $50 a week. And oh yeah. He said, "We got a sound man, we got a light man, we got a U-Haul." And then he goes, "Do you have a car?" I said, "Yeah," because we're going to need that. Bring it. And I'm like, honestly, James, I said, "Well, when do you have to know?" And my boss is looking at me like, you're supposed to be at work. And I honestly, and not lying, I said, "When do you have to know?" And he said, "We're going to have one rehearsal and we're leaving the next day." And I thought about it for a second. I looked around the shop and I said, "I'm in." And I quit the band. I quit my job. And we had one rehearsal in a storage unit or something. And then off we went on the road. Then now I was 21 years old and I've never done another job since. So it's, it was tough. $50 a week. Yeah. I remember getting to Valley View, Alberta, and I had $10 and I had to last till from Sunday to Sunday. And we're in a condemned hotel and but it was amazing. We played. If people bought us beer, we drank it. We got in fights. It was amazing. It was rock and roll. Our first, so we were talking about Feldman on one of your podcasts.
Yeah.
Our first gigs were, my first gig was a Soyuz. The monitor amp went down. I lost my voice. The second gig was Smithers, BC. So Soyuz is up here. Second gig was Smithers, way up there. And it was a Chinese restaurant on top, a rock bar in the middle, and a stripper bar in the middle, and a rock bar in the bottom. And then, so we played there, kind of got my voice back. Third was Rocky Mountain House. So and remember back in the day, we played Monday to Saturday.
Yeah.
And those were the first rooting gigs. And it was brutal, drive all day. But then after that, I thought, yeah, I'll do this for the rest of my life. Why not? And it was just super fun. And trials and tribulations, of course, learning how to sing while you're on the road. I didn't have training or anything, so I lose my voice all the time. And sometimes I thought, I can't do this, but I made sure I'm jack of all trades, master of none, but I made sure I wasn't good enough at anything else to make that something to fall back on. I made sure. So I had to play music. I kind of forced myself to play music. So it kind of worked out. And it will kind of work out to where, have you been to Banff?
Yeah, I used to play the Rosencrown quite a bit.
Oh my gosh, I'm on payroll at Rosencrown. I play every Sunday.
I saw that on your site.
You've played at the Rosencrown?
Yeah. I haven't been there in 20 years, but.
Well, come back, because this is, I'll show you in a minute, but this is the Rosencrown band house that I live in. So
no way.
I run the band house. Look, I don't know if I can show you, but I got a fire going. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
awesome.
Those are my awards up there. I got guitars all over the place. There's Johnny Cash. There's this is a beautiful. Anyway, I heard you talking about all the shitty band houses we've had to stay in. Sorry, I got unplugged here. And this is the nicest band house I've ever been in. So I live here, and James, if you come back and play, you'll be staying here at my place.
I'm in, man.
You got to come back here. I'll tell the owner, Vern, I'll say, check out the podcast, and you come and you'll be staying here with me with all these guitars.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Calgary in March. I usually go there 3 or 4 times a year.
Oh,
Play the
really?
blues can.
So you're still, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're still playing.
Yeah, I'm going March, what is it? 14, 15. I play the blues can, and then I'm recording another album on the 16th
Oh, nice. Where in Vancouver?
in Calgary.
Oh, in Calgary. What
Yeah.
studio and who's producing it?
A guy named Steve Gerard is going to be engineering. I guess between me and him, we'll produce it together.
Yeah, I've left my albums. I have 7 albums. I've left a lot of them to the producers, and the one that I'm most proud of and the one I like the best is the one that I produced myself, like in the studio, hands-on with the players. Like I'm a different animal in the studio. I'm like, oh, do that again. Okay, wait, hold, stop. Okay, wait. Okay, now, you get so excited. I miss those days of being in the studio, in an actual studio.
Yeah.
I really miss those days. But I'm here now, and I do a solo show now, so we'll get to all that, I guess, as we go. But anyway, so where were we?
Who cares?
Yeah.
We're where we are right
I
now.
like your podcast because they're so casual. Like, we forget where we're going, and
Yeah, it's like having conversations in the corner of the bar, right?
yeah, of course. And speaking of which, so I know I'm jumping around, but I watched yours with Ken McCoy, who's been at it as long as I have, and we kind of knew each other through the years. And we wrote a song. He phoned me up and said, Brent, I got an idea for a drinking song. I said, okay. And he says, my idea was pour me a drink, make it a strong one for the other hand, and make it the same. That's all he had. So that was the chorus. So I said, well, we better go drinking then. He says, what do you mean? I said, I don't know if you remember the Maple Ridge Hotel, the old Maple Ridge
I
Hotel,
played there, yeah.
with the terry cloth tabletops and all that. And I said, you
I
played.
remember it.
There was the jam there. Remember the jam there? Oh my God, I love that place. It's gone now. But anyway, I said, meet me at the Maple Ridge Hotel. I said, bring your guitar. We're going to go into the bar and we're going to order some tequilas and some beers and we're going to write that song. And we went in there. There was one old fella at the end of the bar and a bartender. And we brought our guitars in. We sat there and wrote the entire song. You know how when the juice get flowing. So I brought this just to get the keys. This, I cut the end.
What happened?
I cut the end of my thumb off with an axe.
Oh.
I was cutting kindling and I didn't get my thumb out of the way. So diagonally, if you can see the angle of that, that's what my thumb looks like. So I'm out of commission. I'm starting to play again on Monday. Yeah, I know. But if any appendage had to get, so now I can't play. I have to play like that. But so the song we wrote, I just brought this for this purpose. And it's got the Buck Owens. I don't know if you're familiar with Buck Owens, but it's got that. Pour me a drink. Make it a strong one for the other hand. Make it the same, because I think it's gonna be a long one. So pour me a drink to help me remember to forget her name. And then to the cross stick, the drop down. It's been some time since I've been in here, that kind of thing. So easy to write that song sitting at the Maple Ridge Hotel at the bar. And the guy at the end of the bar was the guy, the character. And he just gets another shot and he didn't even notice we were there. He was just like, look over once in a while, kind of, whoa, what's going on? Kind of thing. But that's so, I watch all the Ken stuff and I got similar stories and similar characters like Tony Dell, who played with me for a while, and just crazy. Anyway.
Do you know Chris Rowland?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's where I recorded most of my albums with him. So, yeah. Like, I
figured you would.
Huh?
I figured you would know him.
Yeah, he's like him and I. And he would teach all day, and he'd be so tired of teaching. And sometimes, so our big thing was record a few songs and go for a beer down at the Jolly Coachman. He lived
Pitt Meadows.
You played there too, I bet. Yeah.
I grew up in Pitt Meadows. Yeah.
Yeah, oh nice. So one time he was just so tired, and we couldn't wait to go for a beer. We made some great albums there. And one time he just plugged in 2 chords, and he, the patch bay, and I'm in the vocal room, and he's in the control room, and he just looks at me, and I said, "You want to go for a beer?" He goes, "Yeah." So we couldn't wait to get out of there to go. So he even says on one of the albums, "Chris, produced by Chris, let's go for a beer, rolling." He's in Harrison now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where he's living. I've done a few shows where he's been on the bill with Patsy Thompson, who's a good friend of mine. Like,
Of course, I know we know a lot of the same people. Greg, your drummer, he still hosts the jam at the Dudney.
Yeah.
Right? And the bass player, I've seen him forever. What's his name?
Yeah, Ricky Reniff.
And no, Ricky and I will get to that too. When I started doing, yeah, oh my gosh. Him and I went down to Arizona and Texas and all over the place together. And he played.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I got to go back in time a little bit and try to chronologically go through my thing. But I jumped to Ken McCoy. Another funny thing about Ken McCoy, the very first time we ever wrote a song together, he phoned me up, and we respect each other. And he says, "We should do some writing." I said, "Okay, come on over." And he brought his guitar and his mandolin and everything. And he thinks we're going to write this big hit on the radio. And I had this idea. I don't know, Corbett Fraz. I don't know if you know Corbett. He's a drummer. Anyway, this lady that came on CMT, and she had her name will not be said, but she had very tight pants on. And Corbett says, "Look at I don't know if we can say this on the podcast, but
you can say whatever you want."
Okay. Corbett said, "Look at the camel toe on her." And everybody, I had not heard that term at the time, and everyone laughed. And then so it kind of stuck in my head. And then I started talking about Ken about he should write a song called Camel Toes. And he says, "No way." Like, Ken's really like, "No, are you kidding me?" I said, "No, I got this idea." And so we ended up writing that. And he was so embarrassed about it. He wouldn't play it for years. Everyone said, "Play Camel Toes." It was one of my biggest requests. So I did a comedy album, and that was on it. Anyway, so I'll just, the whole thing came together real quick, but he was like appalled that that's what he left my house with, this song. Anyway, so it goes, if you don't mind me doing this.
No, go for it.
You can see her coming from a mile away, wearing them skin-tight blue jeans. She ain't bad looking, but I gotta say, it's something like I've never seen. Here she comes and there she goes. She shouldn't wear them clothes. Her pants are splitting at the hips. Everybody knows, and they call her Camel Toes. Yeah, you can almost read her lips. Everybody chuckles when they see her moose knuckles. Here she comes and there she goes, Camel Toes. So that's what we wrote. And he wouldn't play it for years and years. And people would ask him to play it. And then finally he played it. They texted me and he goes, "Man," he goes, "I finally played Camel Toes. It's fun," he says. Because the
place went nuts.
Yeah, it did. They loved it. And I had a song called Tits, which is a true story. So the album was called Brent Lee's Greatest Tits at first. And then we changed it to The Worst of the Brent Lee Band. So that was my biggest, honestly, James, my biggest selling album of all my albums off stage, because I didn't release anything really, was the Worst of the Brent Lee Band. And I on all these comedy songs and stuff, which I don't play anymore because everyone's so sensitive now. It's just like, you can't say that shit anymore. The kids are all ugly because of you is one of my songs, get your tongue out of my mouth. I'm kissing you goodbye. That's not bad, but that's a true story. All kinds of songs like that. But anyway, that was my biggest selling album. So that was Ken McCoy. Anyway, I had to tell that story. Where were we before we got off track there?
Fuck you, man. You lost me at Camel Toes.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was that. I was at so D, who followed me around to Merritt Mountain Festival. I played her 13 years in a row. Anyway, so a friend of mine who dated my Elio Martelli, he passed away, but recently, but guitar player, and she dated him, and me and Ralph and Elio lived in this big old house in Vancouver, and she had very small breasts, and at the time I hadn't seen her for years, and she showed up at the festival, and she had these massive breasts. And I said, Lisa, how you doing? And she said, good, Brent, how you doing? I'm like, basically, you can't not look at them. And I said, when did you get those? And she said, oh, my husband bought them for me. And so we were all partying and stuff, and I couldn't help writing a song. And it turned out in the end, she ended up leaving her husband before I finished the song, because she was all confident, and she ended up leaving the poor guy. And so many guys say that's my story. So that song, should I play a bit of that, or is this?
Yeah, do it.
So that song was born at the Merritt Mountain Festival. And back in the day, this is how old this song is. It was only $5,000 for a set. So the song started. We're all just around the campsite playing at the festival. I spent $5,000 to get them puppies done. Little did I know that you'd be showing everyone. They're all cupping feels to see if they're not real. Oh, why'd I have to go and buy them tits? Oh, tits, big, big tits, really big tits. That's what the crowd. Why'd I have to go and buy them tits? So it goes on and on like that. And it ended up being a true story in the end, because before I finished writing that song, she ended up leaving her husband, who paid for the boob job. So that's why that's where that song was born. So we got off track again.
I love it.
Sorry, we got off track. I was 14 the last time we talked about that, about where I was going and how I started music. So sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, it's all right, man. We go back and forth, up and down, and sideways.
Oh, I love it. The background.
I do. That's nice.
Yeah, that's a Michael Kelly acoustic electric. I got two of them. They're the best acoustic electric hybrid guitars I've ever played in my life. Michael Kelly.
So those like F holes in it or what?
Yep. Oh yeah. And I have a Telecaster style one over there, but the acoustic sound is amazing. So what I do is I use electric strings 11 to 52, but with a wound third. So you get that jangle for acoustic sound. So the pickup is in a Fishman in the can you see that? Okay. In the bridge there. And then you've got your humbuckers here, and you flick this switch. You can have both on at the same time or forward. So once I started doing smaller shows with a smaller band, instead of putting down my acoustic, getting my electric, I'm the only one fronting, if you will. And so I just flick a switch, hit a button, and off I go, rip off a lead, and then go back to acoustic. So it was fantastic. That's when I played with Ricky and certain drummers and stuff. But that we'll get to how that happened. Let's rewind to where were we? So we did had the basement. Oh, okay. Sorry, James. So I made notes for this.
Perfect. I didn't. I always come to these things unprepared.
I love it. I love that though. I love that. It's fun. I watch a bunch of your podcast and your live stuff too. And you're like live at the Duty, live at the whatever. And again, we'll get into the blues guitar playing too. Like it's just, okay, I got to go there right now. So, and I love that. It's about, I was trying to teach my friend Sean about that. Like get that minor pentatonic scale. And you got bass and drums behind it. Start there. I said it's like foreplay, Sean. Like, and then dig a hole. And then I like when you go down to the low. It's like, and then wait, and then go, and then it's all about dynamics and phrasing and holes. Let the music breathe, And I loved watching your live stuff because it was like we get it. Some people don't get it. Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. I mean, come on. Like he'll play in the song LaGrange. He does that. He just goes, it's dun 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 dun, and there's you're going. Is he gonna play? And he goes, and then and you do that. Like I love it. Yeah. Anyway, so I got off.
Well, I come out of that Texas style, and it's and Billy and Jimmy Vaughn. It's the thing I learned from them was it's about what you don't play.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. And the pick squeals that Billy does, and he's playing one note. He's bending one note and up and down the net and getting the different harmonics. He's playing one note and he's just nicking the string with his pick. And then like for a long time. And then there's a hole. And then he starts playing lead, like an actual lead solo. It is about what you don't play. And then play something and make them go, a question mark, go a form above the listener's head and go, they're thinking, what's going to happen next? In the hole, they're thinking, what's he going to do next? That's the key right there. Anyway, I loved watching you play, and it reminded me of Billy Gibbons and even, Stevie Ray and Jimmy and all that stuff. Anyway,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I did some research. I did my homework for this.
I can tell.
I got to know you. JBR. Anyway, so we were, So Paul Czekanowski, we're in the basement rehearsing, and he was a keyboard player singer. His parents insisted that he become a doctor, and they literally sent him off to medical school. And there was the three of us left. So bass player, drummer, and me. I was terrified of being on stage. I mean, and then they said, we all looked at each other, well, damn, we're going to break up, or else who's going to sing? And they both looked at me and said, you? And I went, me? So I had to start singing, and I was terrified. And then, so jumping ahead, there was a school play in high school, and there was a scene, which was a bar scene, and they knew we had a band. So they decided they wanted us to play a song in this bar scene, in this play, in this school play. And we're like, okay. So they had a stage that they wheeled a stage out. It was really cool. And we played. And I was terrified. I had long hair, I still do, and a ball cap pulled over my eyes. And I had this 1963 Telecaster that I should have never given up, but I played that, and I just had my head down. The bleachers were full. It was a play, and after that was over, one of the most popular girl in school, Andrea Croft. I'm remembering all these names now. She would never even have said hi to me. I was a loner. I wasn't with a group. I wasn't with this. I was just a loner. And Andrea Croft came up to me and gave me a big hug. And she said, Brent, that was amazing. And she kissed me on the cheek, and then she walked away. And I went, rock and roll. It was those little seeds planted in your head. Like, oh, I don't have to be popular. I don't have to be a jock. I don't have to be even good looking. I have to have long hair and play music. And so that's it. And then when I got that phone call when I was at work, I just thought about all that, and I went, I'm in. And that's it. We made $50 a week for years and years and years. And I'm going to go off on another tangent, but so we built it. So you're talking about A rooms, B rooms, and C rooms, remember, in your podcast with D. And we were playing like the C rooms, like abandoned hotels. And we made $50 a week, and then we finally kind of got up to the B rooms, and we were making a couple of $100 a week, and then we graduated to the A rooms as a rock band. Okay, I know where this is going. And then we're making $300 a week, which was great back in the 80s. It was good. And then we decided to become original band and back down to $50 a week. like instantly, like so The reason why I did a couple years in a top 40 rock band in the early 80s, and I always found myself going to there was always a country bar in town, like say Fort St. John, Prince George, all those places. There was always a standalone country bar in the town. And there was always a Saturday afternoon matinee, and I would always go by myself without my band, go by myself and have a pint, and I'd listen to these old country guys just playing these great songs. And I would get up on stage and play a couple of country songs, and it was just fantastic. I loved it. I could sing it, no problem. So I was in Fort St. John in a rock band in the early 80s, and I was losing my voice. I had a cold. No, my guitar player wouldn't turn down. The room was, I don't know if you're played in these rooms, but it was the Hairspray days, and the room was full of people, but they were kind of competing against each other to see who looked the best and who whatever, and not really paying attention to the band. The room was full, and that was Friday night, and I had a terrible night, and I went Saturday to the Roadhouse Country Bar. There were 6 people in that bar, and I got up on stage and played a Johnny Cash song and a Merle Haggard song and a Waylon song maybe, and all 6 people turned around and watched me and clapped, invited me to their table for a beer, and said that was amazing. You got a great country voice. Then I went back Saturday to the rock bar, same thing. I remember loading out that night, and I said, guys, I'm quitting. They're like, what? And they said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to play country music. I knew it right then. And they said, well, we want to play. Well, we want to come with you. And I said, no, because they're rock players. You can't, it's so different. It's like a heavy metal player trying to play a slow blues song. Or, I remember when Feldman and Notable were having a war, and Casey said to me, one of the agents there, what makes a good country band? Like, they were putting rock bands in country bars, and they couldn't do it because it's the feel of the drum, right? That shuffle, and the bass, boom, the grace note, boom, 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 boom. And these guys are like, and they people couldn't dance to it. And anyway, I went off on another tangent, but that's why I started playing country music. And I had this cassette tape at home, and it just said, the world's greatest drinking songs, country's greatest drinking songs. And it just had a picture of a beer mug with the beer flowing over it like that. That was the album cover. That's it. And I put it on. The first song was Merle Haggard. And that's why I started playing country music. I said, this is amazing. It's so raw, and it's halftime funky. I could be holding you tonight. I could quit doing wrong, start doing right. But you don't care about what I think. I think I'll just stay here and drink. That was the song. Yep. And I'm like, I had to play that music. So then I've done that ever since. And here I am now. And now I do everything. Because we'll get to that again too. Now I do a solo show. I don't know if you know that, but I do a...
Yeah, I saw that. Are you still playing with the band though?
No, I don't ever anymore. Like once in a while I'll do a reunion of sorts, or not with my guys, but with some guys around Banff, and I'll get up. I miss fronting a band. I play harmonica too. So I'd like to, maybe if we could do a little tiny bit of a jam or something. You got a guitar there?
I do. I'm just wondering because I got this echo delay going on.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll
well, with translate or not. Anyway, does my guitar sound okay without this?
Yeah, it sounds great on my end. The software did an update thing, and my last podcast had an echo, and now this one's having one, so I got to figure that out. But we should do something in Banff.
Yeah, you will literally, if you play. So I play Sunday and Monday, and then Oftentimes they get a band on Tuesday and Wednesday, or just even a one-nighter. You'll be staying here at my house. It'll be fun. So
we should.
I'll forward your
something.
information when we're done this podcast. I'll forward your information to Vern, who owns the bar, and we'll get you in here. Especially if you're going to Calgary, come here, play a Tuesday, then go and do your shows, Blues Can or whatever nights you do. I don't know.
Yeah, I play a Friday, Saturday. Probably could.
Would you bring your guys, or do you want guys from Calgary?
No, I use guys in Calgary.
Well, they could drive up for the show and crash overnight, and then you can go to Calgary. Anyway, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
It would be super fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We should definitely talk more on that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, we went where we go from the farmhouses when I was 5, basement band. Paul went off to be a doctor. I had to sing school concerts, $50 a week. First 3 gigs, that was that. School play. Yeah.
Well, you quit and started country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was, I had to. I mean, it was, we were a rock band and we were okay. We got up to the A rooms, which is a feat in itself when you start within 2 years when you start at C rooms. But remember the big butterfly bass spins, the big, huge, heavy ones, and the Martin mids. And we had to have a U-Haul truck and a light guy and a sound guy. And I followed along in my old green car, no Plymouth or something like that. And oh my gosh, like just get there, maybe break down, get there. Barely get there, miss a night, sorry, just barely getting. Then they started with these Saturday afternoon matinees. Do you ever do those?
Oh, fuck yeah.
So you're playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then you have to host a Saturday afternoon matinee and then play Saturday night. Then drive many hours on Sunday, get to the next place, set up, do sound check on Monday, have a nap, maybe play Monday, and then they have a Saturday matinee. How did we do it? Well,
rinse and repeat. Yeah.
We were in our 20s. So it's what we did. But that's paying your dues. And later we'll get to like what's music become now and how do you, you can be famous on TikTok in an instant. You don't pay your dues. Nobody pays their dues anymore, except guys like you and I who have already done it. But I think it's in your soul if you go through all these experiences, musically or not. Just you grow up on the road. Like I basically grew up on the road. And I'm never.
Yeah, well, me too. I started playing bars when I was 13. I was backing strippers up in the Wild Duck.
Yeah. Oh my God, I played there too. I played at the Wild Duck, and the stripper pole is. Oh no, the Wild Duck here in town. There's something duck in Victoria. Yeah, the Wild Duck, and you opened like bands would open for strippers. You did that.
Yeah.
See, that's great. That's amazing.
And because I was underage, I had to hang in the change room with
Yes. That was on your podcast with Dee. The script. Yeah. And you had to wait and then go and play. And then, well, you had to hang out in the stripper's change room. Oh, that's a shame.
Life was rough.
My girlfriend, Leanne, her Aunt Penny performed at the Wild Duck. You might have seen my girlfriend's aunt, Penny the Peeler, she calls her. You might have opened for Penny the Peeler at the Wild Duck.
Maybe. Yeah, I could have. And the Barnett Motor Inn, that was the other one.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And then that became a country bar after it was a stripper bar. The Barnett, I played there. Jake's Crossing was a country bar down the hill. So the Barnett was the Barnett at the bottom of that big hill.
Mm-hmm.
I lived at the top, and Barnett was up there. We always rode our Harleys in there and whatnot. And then there was a country bar, Jake's Crossing, down the hill. And yeah. Gosh, I played. Well, so did Ken McCoy. I played Boone County, Poncho and Lefties in Surrey. The what's it called?
Yeah.
And there was a strip bar
right
there
next to the toilet.
What was the name of the whole? The bird. The
bird. We called it the toilet.
Yeah. It was the bird hotel, the Flamingo Hotel. That's what it was.
Flamingo.
The whole hotel.
Yeah.
So the strip bar was there, and then the bar was there. And I just recently talked with Les Redikoff, who owned that for years and years. And that is that gone, or is the building still there?
I think it's gone.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Gabby's in Langley is gone. Boone County's, the building's still there, but it's a car rental something. Roosters is still there. It still says Roosters on it, but that's another club we play. But I kind of saw the writing on the wall before it happened. So the 6-nighters became 5-nighters, and then they became Wednesday to Saturday, and then it was just weekends. So what happened, James, was with these country cabarets, the surrounding pubs were sports bars. So what killed the country cabarets, in my opinion, was, okay, people will go to a sports bar. There's windows, there's food, there's servers that bring you food, and then they started having bands. So guys like Ray Roper and Donnie Underhill, they had Trauma, all these rock stars from the 70s were playing in pubs, 3-piece power rock bands, and it was great. And then the who wants to go to a windowless, foodless dance hall when you can have all that? So that kind of killed the cabaret business. And then they got licensed till 1 o'clock in the morning. So they used to get a rush from about 11:30, 12 till 2 o'clock. Then they got licensed to have live entertainment till 1 o'clock, all these surrounding sports bars. And then the rush would be from 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. Sell. And it just killed them. So then I gave my band a year's notice. I just said, I'm not going to do the band thing anymore. We'll finish out this year, but you're going to have to start looking for something else, because I'm going to do a bare bones. I think I'll show you the kick drum that me and Ricky used. Can you see that?
Yep.
Kick drum on the wall. So it was a bare bones project. Ricky wasn't involved. So I had my drummer, Monty. So what I wanted was guitar, vocals, me. I wanted a harmony, and I wanted some kind of percussion. So he played a small 3-piece kick, snare, and hat. And then percussion, like shakers and rock tambourine, whatever, all kinds of percussion. And it was really fun. And my friend Brad Fletcher owned the Bellevue Hotel in Mission. Have you ever played there?
Yeah, when it switched to a place called The Stage.
Yes,
I played there a few times.
After that. Anyway, he got me started. He said, come and play Sundays and do your bare bones thing. So I was doing a lot of original stuff, and it was really fun and really cool. And a lot of people showed up every Sunday. It was really cool. And then, so I had me and my drummer, Monty, and then Red Volkart was playing at a Legion in somewhere, Langley or somewhere. Red Volkart, the guitar player. Anyway.
Yeah, I know the name. Yep.
So there's Ricky Wren. I've seen him in the Knobs, like back in the 80s and stuff, and known him for a long, long time. And he had his hair all slicked back in a pompadour, rockabilly. So, and he's sitting there, and someone bought me a Jack Daniels, and I don't drink it. So I went over. I said, Ricky. I said, Brent Lee, and he goes, hey, Brent. I said, can you drink this? Because I don't drink it. And he goes, yeah, sure. So we did a shot, and then I says, what are you up to? And he says, he says, well, I'm playing bass, playing around here and there and stuff. And I said, yeah, well, I'm doing a kind of a bare bones project now. And he said, if I ever had a bass player, I would want an acoustic upright bass. And he says, that's what I'm doing now. I said, no. So he came out, sat in with us at the Bellevue Hotel in Mission, and it was fun. So now I tried to go solo. I ended up with the drummer and sang, and then all of a sudden I got a 3-piece band again. I'm like, damn it. But I mean, Ricky's so great, and with his vocals and his bass playing. Then Monty didn't want to go on the road. I got this Kenny Hess. I don't know if you know him. He's down in Arizona. He's got a place down there. He plays down there at all the RV resorts, which is all the snowbirds go down there, 55 plus. They're all older folk, but they love that old country music that I love. So he said, you should come down here and audition. So I flew down there. I auditioned. I got about 6 or 7 gigs at these places. And then Ricky came down with me, and we did a duo, and we set the whole stage up like a desert campsite. It was really cool. Cactus and a fake campfire and the whole bit. It was really awesome. And we were doing like stuff like, put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone, all those crooner songs, and they loved it. And I did that for years and years with Ricky. So we'd play up here, and then snow flies, we go down through Montana and drive all the way down there and play all these shows, and I'd go golfing and stuff, and it was just a blast. And now I'm here in Banff, and the winters are long, but
And cold.
long and cold. Right now, it's like, okay, this is where I normally would go down south, and every time. So then I started going by myself. Ricky went off to Nashville and did some things with some other people. Every time I drove my motorhome down there, you get the work visas, you jump through hoops, it's money grabs, it's like, and then I'm driving by myself in a motorhome all the way to Arizona, and they want you in and out. After your last gig, you're in Arizona, you got 24 hours to get out of the country. I'm like, that's impossible. Anyway, every time I'm driving down there, I'm going, this is the last time I'm doing it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to stay in Banff. That's it. I'm not doing this anymore. I get down there, and then I'm like, golfing with Kenny, and I do a couple of shows, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is great, and then do another show by myself, get paid a bunch of money, and then go golfing. And I'm like, yeah, this, and then I'm driving home, and I'm going, I'm never doing this again. Never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. That's it. This is my last time. Then I stayed one entire winter in Banff, and everything froze. Pipes, this, that, everything. And then I thought, that's it. I'm never spending an entire winter in Banff again. That's it. This is my last time. I went back to Arizona, and then all the way down there again. I'm like, this is it. That's it. Nope. And then anyway, but I've come to realize that I'm stuck here. But this is my Vegas. Banff is my little tiny Vegas. I've got Sunday and Monday. I'm on payroll, for Christ's sakes, at the Rose and Crown. I'm a staff member. And then I play Thursday night at the Irish Pub, which is super fun because I get to play all these traditional Irish tunes, and I learn them, and I research them, and I study them, and it's so much fun. It's become one of the biggest nights in Banff, Irish Thursdays.
Wow.
But I can't play now. I know, but I can. I'm going back to work on Monday at the Rose with Dean Lonsdale, a friend of mine. He sings and plays. He's going to come and do it with me. You'd just see my thumb going back and forth.
Yeah.
So when I have to keep my hand up here, it's healing, but I literally chopped the end of my thumb is still on the porch in the work glove.
Oh.
Sorry. It's still out there. You want to see it? Okay.
Yeah, let's see it.
No, I'd have to
on.
get up and go
Come
get
on.
it. No,
That's all right. We'll wait.
no. We won't. I think I'll put it in a jar of tequila, like mezcal, like the Worm or something, and we'll all me and my
Yeah, just tie a little stringy thing onto the end of it.
yeah. Anyway, so that's the first time I've ever chopped off an appendage before, but I know I'm all over the place again.
No, that's all right. I stabbed myself last November. I hunt, and I got a deer, and it was raining. It was too lazy to go grab my actual buck knife, and I used my scalpel and reached in and stuck myself. And it was tough to play because I just even now, like I feel like I did nerve damage.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I have to keep tapping this, and they said keep tapping it because I cut all the nerve endings off, which is yeah. So I'm gonna try on Monday and Tuesday. I'm playing instead of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with someone else, and then I'll get local guys to come and do a show with me until I'm able, because I don't want to re-injure it and start over. So anyway, that's where I'm at now. My girlfriend Leanne was flying in Saturday, and I said I love you so much that I wanted to I didn't want to go to gigs. I wanted to spend more time with you together, so I chopped the end of my thumb off.
And I'm sure she believed you.
I said it's not an ear, but I mean, it's a thumb.
It's close.
Yeah, but we've had a great time too, though. Just I'm antsy. I'm kind of, and I'm not playing, but I'm having some good downtime, and she's taking care of me, and that's her rap job.
How long ago did you do it?
Saturday.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, like a week. Saturday.
A week ago.
Yeah. So it's starting to heal, but I mean, like I said, I can't put my guitar neck there. I have to put it in here.
Yeah.
And there's, certain chords I'm like, she was reading in bed and I was sitting out here trying to play guitar, and I'm like, Okay, ow. Okay, not that chord. And then I'm like, okay, that's good. Ow. And she goes, oh, I can't play that form of the F, but it'll be fine, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and we'll get to that too. There's a reason why I'm so happy doing what I do today. Remind me to tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Can I tell you now?
Tell me now, because I'll forget.
You'll forget. Okay. Can you make me a something? Okay, thanks. So this changed my life. There's a fella named Steve Sharples, and he played with his brother Al in a band called Blackwater. And speaking of Poncho and Lefties, so they were playing at Poncho and Lefty. And this is why I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now. Now, what I do now, even though I have 7 albums, I sometimes I play a few of my own originals. Sometimes it's a lot of cover tunes because I'm in a tourist town. And it's so fun, and I'm so happy where I'm at now. But because of this gentleman named Steve Sharples, he was playing there, and I was outside, and I was in one of those stages of my life where I'm like, oh, poor me, like what? I don't want to play cover tunes. I'm an original artist. You get to that point where you get a certain amount of fame, and I was on Much Music all the time, and this and that, and opening for big bands, and I was bitching and complaining, and he's having a smoke, and he's just listening to me, and never said a word. And I said, I don't want to play cover tunes anymore and stuff. And he just took his last drag. He threw his cigarette in the ground, put it out with his cowboy boot. And he goes, I like playing cover tunes. And he walked back in the bar. And I was like, oh. So it kind of humbled me. And I went in to Poncho and Lefties, and I watched him on stage. And he's such a great player. And he's just smiling, and he's playing all these cover tunes, and he's just having a great time. And I thought to myself, why can't I be like that? And that changed my whole thought process about music. And I just enjoy playing music. Like you play cover tunes as well, but you play your own songs. But I mean, it's just such a different thing. And so I thank Steve Sharples for changing my opinion of music in general. And now I play mostly cover tunes because it's a tourist town. And like now people are right here. They're 2 feet away from me now. We're playing smaller venues. And it is insane, James. It's insane. Like, I don't think, like, I put the harmonica on because now I play straight harp instead of blues harp because I have to play guitar. So you have the rack and all that, and you play like Neil Young, I don't think Billy Joel himself gets the response that I do from the song Piano Man. It's insane, James. And they all they act out every scene to the song, and they're pointing at me, it's you they're coming to see to forget about life. And it's like better than any concert. I've done lots of concerts, like stadiums, like 20,000 people. Like I toured with Tragically Hip. I got to know Gord real well. I opened for Johnny Cash. I did all these cool stuff. Blue Rodeo my manager was John Caton, the same as them. Those shows were great, but you're so disconnected from your audience because you're on a big stage and they're you can't even see past the first 3 rows. It's so you have to become this larger than life person but they're right there. And there's a story about these glasses too. I'll get
Get to that.
Yeah. Where was it going? Anyway, so now I have more fun playing cover tunes than I do playing my own songs. And a guy, because I hurt my thumb, the guy that's filling in for me at the St. James Gate, the Irish pub, he's playing my songs that I wrote. And I was like, wow, he's playing he played a couple of I don't even play them anymore. And he's filling in for me and he's playing my songs. And I thought, well, maybe I should start playing
He's just playing covers.
Yeah, he's playing covers. That's right. Oh, don't make me clap. That hurt.
Sorry.
He's playing cover tunes, but mine. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, so that was my Steve Sharp, the guy that changed my opinion about music altogether. Because I was like being selfish and thinking, everyone wants, like I say, everyone wants to be famous when they're younger, and they think they're going to be. And I thought by the time I was 25, I'm going to be famous. Then I'm like, okay, I'll give myself 5 more years. Okay, 30. Then it's like you're 30 and you're 30, and then all of a sudden I'm turned 40 at Poncho and Lefties, and I'm like, okay, 50. And now I'm in my 60s. I'm like, okay, never. Mm.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because my next album is all covers, and I'm calling it Covered in Blues.
Oh, I love it. Dwight Yoakam did one called Under the Covers, and it was all covers.
nice.
So Covered in Blues. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you got to, like you say, you got to pay royalties and whatnot. But and a lot of the old blues tunes can be like a lot of the old country tunes, public domain. 50 years after the death of the author.
Yeah.
So any Hank Williams, most of my albums have a Hank Williams song on it because that is 50 years after the death of the author of the song. It becomes public domain.
Yep.
So I mean, a lot of the old blues stuff would be that. So that's your next. You're doing that in Calgary.
Yeah, so the Blues Can, they moved locations, and it's going to be a grand opening. Going to do it March 14, 15, unless something comes up and pushes it out.
March. Okay, well.
I'm playing Friday, Saturday, 14, 15, and then recording on the 16th.
Wow.
I got to try and get it all done in one day.
Right.
Because I got to come back to Vancouver, and for work, I got to go to China for a week. So
wow.
I can't stick around too long after.
How about a live album at the Blues Can? Then you can do the gig and record the album.
My last album was live at the Blues Can.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Wow. So yeah, you like Ricky, and you must know, Donnie Underhill from Trooper, Donnie and the boys and all them. So you've played, I heard you say the Anavets or something like that. Is that right in Maple Ridge there?
Yeah, it's just a little Legion thing, kind of helping them out, trying to keep the place open.
This Roland used to play there with Patsy and stuff, and I went down and jammed with them and stuff. It's just a little little cafeteria hall sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a small place.
Yeah, Chris is we recorded one. He had a dog and a cat, and I'm allergic, so we recorded my King of Broken Hearts album at his place. But I couldn't, we did all the music and stuff, and we were both producing it but I couldn't do the vocals. So he ran a long cable out the top window of his house in Maple Ridge there, down to the driveway and into my motorhome, and we used not headphones but speakers up on the top bunk of my motor, and I had tea going and candles, and I was in the best vocal takes I've ever done because I was just in my atmosphere, but I was allergic to his animals, so we had to do that. So there's a way around it. Anyway, me and Chris, so comfortable to work with, and just a funny guy too, and just a great player. And he played on a lot of my albums and stuff, and I got a Christmas album that I can't play anywhere.
Why not?
Well, no, it's all about Christmas. I spent a couple of Christmases in Surrey, living in Surrey in my motorhome in someone's yard, and it's like it's not for kids or anything. It would be banned from radio and stuff, like Frosty the Snowman, the drug dealer, and all that. And it's not good. It's funny though.
Yeah, but like the hit songs are that WAP song. You know that one?
No.
WAP, they call it WAP. I forget the artist's name, but it's called Wet Ass Pussy. That's the name of the song.
Oh my gosh.
And the video has some chick in a thong flying around with like waterfalls coming from between her legs.
Oh my gosh.
I'm they let that on there?
Wow. I mean,
Nicki Minaj, I think's her name.
Wow. Well, then I know.
So I think your Christmas album would be acceptable.
Frosty the Snowman, he's a drug dealer we know, with a big crack pipe and a runny nose, and his eyes bugged out from blow. Frosty, it's that.
Oh my God, we're so similar. Because I wanted to do an album called Songs in the Key of Me.
Hey.
And do Stevie Wonder, I am so beautiful to me. I can see. Yeah, I'm everything I hoped for.
When I think about myself, I touch myself. Oh, I don't need.
There you go. Yeah, we can do an album right there. Songs in the Key of Me.
Songs in the Key of Me. Chris Rowland told me about this Christmas jazz album. It's instrumental, and it's called Jesus Christ, It's Your Birthday Again. That's the name of the album, I think. And one of the songs, not a word of a lie, it's called Christ, These Chords Are Hard. And it's just instrumental jazz. It's so good.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm going to put my Christmas album out next year. Just on like whatever it is. Like I have a gal that works for me and Spotify and all that.
Yeah.
But even my comedy album, they wouldn't put some of it on there, like Tits and Camel Toes and those songs. They wouldn't put them on there. It's all governed now. So I don't know.
Yeah, the world's so fucked up these days.
Oh, you think? Everyone's so sensitive. It's just awful.
I know.
I don't like that you can't say that anymore. I don't like that term. What happened to freedom of speech? You can't call that person that anymore. You can't say that. I'm like, yeah, I can. I just did. Like, it depends on who's listening, really. Right?
My response is, I'm offended, you're offended.
Yeah. Yeah, but even years ago when I did my tit song, like some a woman in the crowd would be very offended and say you're a pig, and they're not listening to the song. They just hear about female body parts and they're mad at me, and I just say I'm sorry that you're offended. I like that. I'm offended that you're offended. I like that approach, but I kind of
cover.
I shy away from I shy away from those. Yeah, give it back to them. Sorry, I disappointed you.
Here's your cover back. You got nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Anyway, and while I'm thinking about it, I don't know what triggered this, but these glasses. So now that I'm playing smaller venues and people are so close to me, and the kids nowadays, I call them kids because gosh, in Alberta they're 18. It's the drinking age. So they're like right there in front of you. And what they do is instead of yelling out what song they want, they just put it on their phone and they go like that. And without I didn't know I needed, I had reading glasses. I'm not going to, so I'm like, I said to one girl, I said, I'm singing and playing. I'm like, I could turn to her and I go, I can't see that. So she goes and puts it right in my face. And I'm like, not helping. And so this is what's been happening. So there was a pair of red glasses, like women's glasses, like Dame Edma, if you know who that is, a drag queen, like really god awful looking big red glasses were left at the Irish pub, and everyone was trying them on and laughing, and they're taking pictures with them because they look so funny. The women's glasses, big freaking red frame. And they said, try them on, Brent. So I put them on and they're all laughing. And I'm like,
I love them.
No, I could see their prescription. And I could see everything. James, I was looking at the bottles along the back. I could read the labels. And I'm like, and so I wore them for a while. And then I brought them into the glasses places here in Banff. I said, I need this prescription. So they retested my eyes, gave me very similar ones with my own frames now. Anyway, so these, I got my glasses and then I got used to them. They're progressive, so they're hard to manage. It's readers on the bottom and then mid and then far away on the top, and you kind of got to get used to that, right? So I'm playing on stage and it's dark and there's lights, and it's as in Rose and Crown, as you know, the lights are low. It's a low ceiling. So it's dark and there's lights coming at me, and it's reflecting off my glasses. And I'm having a real hard time with getting used to these glasses. And then I thought, it's dark. There's lights coming at me. What would fix that? Night driving lenses. So these are night driving lenses, and they work so good. It solved my, and even in the daytime, like these lights in here are nice and yellow and warming, and everything looks better. So I wear them all the time now. And the funny thing is, young kids come up to me and go, "Cool shades, dude," because they think they're really retro. But it's just what I needed to wear, and the problem with the lights. And I'm like, "Thanks," And I'm like, "Hey, thanks, buddy." Yeah. And they're like, "Wow, they're clip-ons, even cooler." So
That's funny.
it's kind of, and people are starting to recognize me now from my glasses. The one guy goes, "Are you Brent Lee?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I recognize your glasses." So it kind of became, and on that note, it's kind of becoming an image thing almost, because that's what I wear, and people love my
trademark.
glasses. It was a fluke. So Roy Orbison, that's what happened with him with his dark glasses. He was going to England or something like that, flying for a concert over there. Forgot his he had big, heavy duty prescription glasses. He looked like a real dork, and he forgot them. All he had was prescription sunglasses, which he had to wear to see, to read anything, to see. He wore them on stage, and it was such a great show that became his image. It was an accident. So I'm not saying it's like Roy Orbison, but similar. This has just become.
I got you.
This is me now. I forget I have these on because everything. You look good. Kidding.
Beer goggle laser eye surgery.
That's right. That's what these are. They're beer goggle laser eye surgery.
Eye surgery.
Without the surgery.
Without the laser prescriptions.
Beer goggle eye surgery lenses. Clip-on lenses. Without the surgery. Eye surgery.
There's a song in there.
Yeah. We can't even say it. Imagine trying to sing that. I was hoping we could do some something like a. Kind of something there, but you don't know about your guitar. But
well, we could try it and see what it sounds like.
I wrote a COVID song, a blues song. I thought maybe we might be able to mess around with that a little bit, but we're going all over the place.
How's it go?
It's in G, and it's just the standard down. And I started thinking about the COVID, and I was just playing my guitar in the driveway, and my only audience was people walking their dogs. Like they'd stop, and so see, I can't really. This is hard to do, but to get that thing in G, I just that hurts my thumb. I was making lots of money, having lots of fun, playing my songs for everyone. And then I stopped because I had to. And then I thought, what am I gonna do? Now here I am. I got nothing left to lose. I got the coronavirus, COVID-19 blues. Right? And I played that all through the pandemic when we were doing shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that must be painful, like having it.
Well,
your thumb there on the back of the guitar.
Can't do that anymore. So I have to put
the
meaty part of my hand there. But to play those, it has to be back there. So I shouldn't have done that. And I think I've re-injured myself, but I'm okay. Anyway, that was that. And people love that song, but that's when they couldn't dance. What a thing. Playing behind plexiglass, that doesn't stop anything. And people can sit there. They can sit there without a mask, and they can talk, and they can yell, and they can woo. But when they stand up to go to the washroom, they have to have a mask on. What is COVID only up here? Or is it like everywhere? Like what was it? It was a weird time.
None of it made any sense to me.
James, did you start doing your podcast during COVID, or has it been a thing before?
No, during COVID, I actually I didn't do any music.
Oh.
I actually was like, I quit. I'm done.
Wow.
Retired, not going to play anymore.
That was it, hey? I did. Wow. Yeah. But you did. You came back.
Yeah, I did come back because I think COVID made me realize I don't need music to survive.
Right. But I do. I mean, I did.
Yeah. Unlike you know, I do marketing and
Right.
I get creative outlets that way, trying to pay the bills. But I realized, you know, music's such a part of me that I can do it now because I want to, not because I have to.
Exactly. And yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had to when I had a band because
Mhm.
they had families. I had to keep them. They had to
Keep
pay
them
their
working.
rent. They had to feed their families. So I had to keep working. And believe me, I didn't. Sometimes I didn't want to.
Mhm.
Now I'm doing what I want to do. I can't wait.
Exactly.
I can't wait to go to work. Like I said, it's my little Vegas. I got residencies. The world, as cheesy as it sounds, the world comes to me now. Like they know I'm Sunday, Monday at the Rose. I'm Thursday at the Irish pub, and they will make sure they come once a year. Every time they come skiing, they come to see me. And I've got these people from the UK. I got people from Germany. I got people from all over the world that come to see me every year. And then I got the
That's
locals.
awesome.
I got the locals mixed in with the tourists, and it's just fantastic. My analogy of Banff, when I tell other bands that come, because all the bands come here and stay here, and they play, and they say, well, you know, it was really dead, and then you know, we took a break and everyone left, and you know, what are we doing wrong, kind of thing. I said, nothing. It's a tourist town. It's 2 blocks long. If you were in Ireland and you were in the middle of town and you saw a great band, excuse me, or a great act, and they took a break, I'm going for a walk. I want to see what else is going on, and then I'll come back to where I started. But in Banff, you don't have to. I remember you talking on your Flip the Script one podcast with Dee there, saying how tough it is out in BC, and I found that too. Like selling yourself all the time, like always trying
Mhm.
to, you know, you know, my girlfriend Leanne said, you know, finally we go for a beer or something to eat, and I'm looking around, going, geez, where can I set up? Where can I play? You know, and is there sports on? You know, am I going to be a nuisance? You know, but in Banff, you don't have to draw a crowd. You don't have to draw a crowd at all. I don't have to sell myself anymore at all. I'm here. You don't have to bring them in. You just have to keep them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the analogy to Banff. You just have to be good enough and engaging enough and entertaining enough to keep the crowd. And then when people come in, and I tell bands, there's no set times. They say we play 45-minute sets. It's in the contract, and then we take a half-hour break, and that's what we do. And we play the same songs in the same order all the time. And I'm like, that doesn't work. If a group of people come in to the bars, there's like 8, 10 of them, and I'm at the end of my set, I'm gonna. Oh well, so I was supposed to take a break now, folks, but now these people came in, so I guess I gotta play a few more songs for them. And they're like, us? I'm like, yeah, come on in, grab a table. I'll play extra for you, make them feel special. And then that goes,
Mhm.
I've played a 2-3 hour set sometimes. And that's what you need to do. Like throw the set list out the
Exactly.
window, throw the set times out the window. You're in a tourist town, entertain the people. When you're physically too tired to keep going, then you can take a break. Well, that's what I do now.
It's true.
That's what
Yeah.
I do now. Yeah, it's awesome. I want to, like, gosh, I'm an hour and a half away from Calgary. Like, if I can get there, I want to come and see you play.
Yeah, you should bring a guitar with you if you do.
Harmonicas.
Harp, whatever you want.
Are you standard tuning? You're not dropped down to half step?
No, I do standard.
Yeah, because yeah, some bands would drop down to half step. None of the harps work unless they change their key, right? So cross harp you play 4 up from the band, straight harp you play in the same key. But now I just play straight harp because it's more Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty stuff. That's you're playing in G, the harp's in G, and I got that thing on. And I play 3 different drums with my feet as well. So I play a kick drum, a
Oh,
tambourine, a snare drum, and harmonica, and guitar, and sing. So it's
wow.
yeah, I've created a monster, and now I have to feed it. Basically, well, it's true, but I love it. It's physically demanding, mentally, like I can split my brain in percentages 5 different ways when I'm playing music. Like if the drum part's difficult, I'll go more percentage of my brain will concentrate on the drums. If the guitar part's the most difficult, 60% will be on guitar. Vocal will be this percentage. My feet will be this percentage. I can do all that and pull it off, keep it in time, and do an entire night like that. I'm absolutely exhausted. But if I'm talking to somebody and the TV's on, it drives me insane. I can't focus on what that person is saying. I can musically, I can do all that, but it's like, shut the TV off. Like, it freaks me out. So that's just the musical part of your brain, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
To me, it's second nature. And other people try and do it, and they're like, no, they can't do it. Other musicians try it. They don't realize how hard it is. I started with just a tambourine. Then I built it into my stool, and then I play that. Then I added a snare drum. So verses would be, so the tambourine becomes a hi-hat kind of. So you know how verses a lot of times are hat, snare, and then the chorus would come along, and then snare, kick, back to the hi-hat, the cross stick or whatever. That, and then I'd look down at my feet, and I'm going, my right foot's really not doing a lot. Let's add a kick drum. So I got a kick drum now too. So it's pretty insane, but it's so fun. It's like people will people will be in the back. You know how the rows is kind of segregated a little bit with it goes way back around the back, and people think it's a full band playing, and they come out and they go, holy shit, that's one guy. So it's really cool. And they watch what I'm doing with my feet. And I play backwards because when I was on stage with the band, I never tapped my toe. I always tapped my heels. Like I would just, that's how it. So then I tried all different configurations of percussion, and I ended up putting all the drums behind me. So my stool's here. All my drums are behind me with kick pedals facing backwards. So I use my heels. So kick, tambourine, kick, snare, kick, tambourine, kick, snare, kick, tambourine, kick. Yeah. So it's just super fun. Tons of fun.
That's wicked. I want to check it out.
I'm in my happy place here in this town, James. That's just like, I've been all over the freaking continent millions of times. I mean,
good for you.
I've always been like, when, I don't know if you know when Dwight Yoakam and Steve Earle kind of came out on the country scene at the same time. And Steve Earle was more hillbilly and Dwight was more polished. But Dwight took a classical, like old school, traditional country music and modernized it with production. Steve Earle had just raw production, but just came out with this hillbilly freaking attitude, rock and country thing.
Mhm.
And I was this, like, things happen by mistake or by fluke. And Dwight told me this actually when we were on tour. Like, so I was always a big fan of his and his songwriting. And we were in this little shithole country bar in out Toronto suburbs, like Brampton or something like that. And nobody down there, basement bar, and we're all kind of bummed out. And my manager comes in and he says, "Sit down, boys," and we sit down. And he puts this tour itinerary. Says Dwight Yoakam Canadian Tour itinerary in front of us. And I said, my first thought was, oh, and I saw Toronto on the sheet, and I thought, well, are we going to get to see Dwight? Like, maybe get backstage passes? This is cool. I said, so are we going to get to see the show? And he goes, no. I'm like, oh. And he says, you're on the tour. And I'm like, what? He said, you're the opening act, right? All the way to Newfoundland. So I'm like, holy shit. That was amazing. So we started our own tour on Vancouver Island and hooked up with Dwight Yoakam and started opening for him in Winnipeg. Went to Toronto, all through the Maritimes, all the way to St. John's, Newfoundland. So that was my tour. You can't get further west and east than that. You can't get further.
Yeah.
So it was so cool. And then I got to hang out with him, and he told me, there was a newspaper article about it too, but he said, yeah, you just finished the show, and he went on his bus, and the bus driver had the bus running, and my cassette tape. So Metalworks Studio, sorry, I'm jumping around again, was Triumph, the band Triumph. That was their studio in Toronto. We recorded the demo tape there, and it was handwritten in my handwriting, and it was just our songs And we decided to do 10 songs and make it kind of an album, but it wasn't even an album. It was just handwritten cassette tape. And it ended up on Dwight Yoakam's tour bus. My manager got it to his manager, and it ended up on the dash. And Dwight finished his show, gets on the bus, and he said to the bus driver, "What's that?" And the bus driver says, "I don't know, some band from Canada." And they had a Canadian tour coming up. And Dwight said, "Put it in." He listened to a couple songs and he said, "Get them on the tour." Just like that. And that was our big break as far as opening up in concert, like on a tour for a big. So we're doing Coliseums. So I got thrown into Coliseums and theater shows and stuff. And then Johnny Cash, like how the hell did I get to open for Johnny Cash in Toronto? And when I met him outside his dressing room, he came out and he was late for a show. And June Carter was on stage, and I wanted to meet him, and he just walked up to me and stuck out his hand. And he said, "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash." And I'm like, "Yeah, you are." And gosh, like we've opened for like, you know, the country guys, Travis Tritt and Marty Stewart and all those guys, Blue Rodeo lots, and Celine Dion opened for me in Toronto.
What?
Yeah. It was her first English-speaking album ever at the Diamond Club in Toronto, huge club. And it was a big record push for her, and it was my gig. And she went on, did her show, and then we went on. So she opened for me. It's true.
That's cool.
No one knew who she was. Nobody knew who she was. But they were pushing her to their first English-speaking album. And that was the thing. So I can honestly say that Celine Dion opened for me. Anyway, there's so many cool shows. And, you know, to be the opening band, I think you talked about this, for big bands, there's no pressure. There's no, like, that's how you get the ball rolling. That's how you get recognized. I've seen that guy. He opened for Johnny Cash. I've seen that guy. He played with, you played with whoever, like the blues guys, right? And it isn't, that's a great way to get going instead of just coming out with your first album, do a video, go on the road, a little less pressure and stuff. And I remember being a kid, man, and going to concerts, and back when it was lighters, and I always wanted to see the opening act, always, because the lights were all on and the music was on through the PA, and people were getting their beers and they're sitting down, and all of a sudden, when those lights go off, it's on, it's happening, and the crowd cheers and all the lighters come on. They have no idea who the opening act is. They just know that the concert is starting. And then you see the flashlight going up the stairs to the stage, and, you see the silhouettes of the band. And I just thought, that is so cool. I want to be that guy. And I got to be that guy a lot. And the first time was a theater with Dwight Yoakam in Winnipeg. And same thing, lights go out, everyone cheers, lighters all come on. I walk on stage. I'm terrified, James. Like, this is my first big show, and I'm the opening act. We weren't ready, but it's do or die. And this spotlight comes on me, just me, and I'm like, the first thing that came out of my mouth, I just said, "I know you're here to see Dwight." And then everyone just cheered. And I just said, "But you're gonna my name's Brent Lee. You're gonna have to put up with me for a little while first." Then we just ripped into a song. And that's how I started every opening tour concert from then on in. And then I was like, whew. Then the jitters went away, and then I just you gotta own them. To own 20,000 people, you can't doubt yourself. You know that, right?
Well, I haven't played for 20,000 people, but 10 in some Texas festivals. But
I've played for 10 people.
Yeah, I play for 10 people a lot.
I love it though. If those 10 people stay and have fun, then man, hey, how much time we got?
Yeah, we should probably wrap her up pretty quick. But those 10 people are the 10 people that watch this podcast.
Oh yes.
That's where the 10 views come from.
Nice. Well, I got to get all your information and try and get you in a Rose and Crown, buddy.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll connect offline, and if you're up for more stories and want to come back on the podcast, let's do it again.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so
just-
much. It was Dee that reached out to me.
Yeah. When she said you were on it, I was like, Brent, because I told her, I said, listen, I know so many people in the blues world and I could tap into almost anybody, but I want to expand. Like,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of country around, Maple Ridge that was way more mainstream ever than any blues was.
Yeah.
And, and just kind of get into different genres. And
yeah, I kind of think I missed the boat a little bit because now some of these country guys are doing this hardcore, really bluesy, freaking dirty, raunchy country stuff. And that's what I was doing before it was cool. Now they're coming out with all this cool. You'd love some of that new country stuff. It's hillbilly blues. Like, it's all related. Like, the blues and classic country are so related.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're 4-chord songs, and just, you throw a 2/5 turnaround in there, and then freaking off you go.
Yep.
I mean, I love it. Anyway, great chatting with you.
The Caddy Shack is going to be a country bar.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yeah, I just read that yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where else
Just
is
like
there
weekend.
where else is there to play? Like Shooters Cabaret shut down.
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
Yeah. So now the thing is, you're competing with sports bars. So it's like, okay, NHL playoffs are on. I'm not playing while the Canucks are freaking playing in the playoffs. Play in between periods. Do 5 songs and then wait till the game's over, and then everyone leaves. Then you got those 10 people.
Exactly.
Then you got those 10 people still there that came to see
You
you.
get the same 10 people.
Yeah, but they're persistent and they stay. And then maybe 2 friends of theirs come. Then you got 12.
Then they leave early because their friends get upset and bored. Yeah, no, when I started in the scene at like 13, 14, everybody was 20, 30 years older than me.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm pushing 50 and they're still 20, 30 years older than me.
Think they're going to stay up late enough when you start at like 9:30 or something?
I don't know, man. Some of these old blues guys that were kicking hard in the 70s, if they're not dead, they can out drink me, out play me,
Smoke
like-
cigarettes?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Still?
cigars, cigarettes, whiskey.
That's the blues.
Yeah.
That is the blues. And it's country
It
music
is.
too. Well,
Well, both kinds of music, country and Western,
rhythm and blues.
rhythm and blues. I met BB King a bunch of times because I toured with his band guys. And he said, when I was your age, it was rhythm and blues. Now they call it blues.
Yeah.
I guess we lost our rhythm.
Ooh. R&B, man. It's just,
He said that a bunch of times.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool. Great.
But
But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to be on this, man.
I appreciate you, and tell Dee said thank you for thinking of me. And I watched some of your podcasts, and I thought, I like this guy. This is going to be fun. And yeah, it was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thank you for doing it. We'll do it again, and let's keep in touch. I want to get up there and
Easiest way is
come
Dee.
hang out.
I
and
gave
do
Dee
your
my
show.
I gave Dee my phone number. So just text
Okay.
me, and then
Okay.
we'll do it that way. And then Vern is the owner of the Rose, and it'd be so good if you could get in here for a Tuesday and then go to Calgary and do your thing.
Has he owned it for quite a while?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe he was the guy that it was probably 2003, 4
Oh,
when I was
absolutely.
there last.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He would have been the guy that booked you.
Yeah.
For
Cool.
sure. All right.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Take care. Take care of that thumb.
I will.
Cheers.
Thank you.